Are you ready?
My name is Vanta.
Have you ever felt indecisive in the moment about something that you really wanted or you really want, right? And you just keep on going backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. Should I, shouldn't I? Do you think it's for my good? Then you start asking people, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Well, that creates confusion, right? And in the midst of that confusion, there it pops up. What I want to share with you, okay, is called conflict. So there are many conversations that I can have with you about conflict. And when you are in conflict with yourself, those things bring on conflict in your relationships, okay, with yourself and with others. So today I want to separate the idea of conflict being outside of you. So just for this conversation to help you raise awareness, meaning that we are going to go in and just look at it from an inner perspective, from you being with your alignment with your voice and your vision and you understanding how you're saying things and why you're saying it and being able to communicate that. We want to go in and go, all right, the conflict starts with little things like being indecisive. When you're being indecisive about what you want or what you should have, or where you need to go, or what you want to eat, or what you are thinking about, or what's for your higher good, that is a signal right there letting you know, okay, that you're not in alignment with yourself. And the reason why is simple. Your inner being, which is your soul aspect of yourself that knows you, that has value and appreciates every single decision you make, is never indecisive. There's no confusion when you know. And when you're in your space of your heart, and it doesn't really make a difference if you're making money, not making money, as long as you're loving what you're doing and you're enjoying it and you're feeling good, you're clear. But then you start getting unclear when the emotional pulls are being pulled by thought processes, shoulds, coulds, and those things bring you outside of yourself. And then you start looking outwards, and all of a sudden, you start having these relationships that are causing a very, very loud bang noise with you. That is conflict. There's so many ways that I can describe this, and so very few ways that you probably are ready to hear it, because it comes from you truly understanding the space between you, and then the space that you create outside of you that now becomes in a space of conflict. Conflict is a state of awareness. It's not an emotion. The action is lots of actions that could have caused conflict. You could have given up your personal power. That creates conflict. You could have been indecisive. That creates conflict. You could have been doubting yourself. That creates conflict. You could have doubted yourself. That creates conflict. You could have gone from anger to hatred. That creates conflict. You could have gone from desire to jealousy. That creates conflict. So it's lots of different things, and the ripple effect of it, that now you start awakening, okay, and recognizing, wait a minute, there's a gap between me knowing, okay, what I want, and me not knowing what I want. There's a conflict, right? So when you're in these relationships, say, for example, I hear so many times, I'm just in this aggressive, conflictuous state of being all the time with my mother. Well, most of those moments, okay, could have come from when you were a child or when you were older or when you gave up what you knew to please your mother or vice versa. And now that space is embedded in a space of conflict because neither of you are serving, okay, your inner well-being. And this is a very deep thing when I speak about your parents and your emotions. There always seems to be conflict with some kind of parent or with some kind of sibling. So why is that? Where does it come from? Well, you obviously are wanting them to be something different that they are, or you're wanting to act in a different way that you are acting, or vice versa, they're putting that on you. Where take your attention off yourself and look at me. So that creates conflict because you're not allowing, or they're not allowing you being who you are. And that's a different conversation for another day, but I had to go there because that's where people are creating more and more conflict because no one's letting go of the rope. No one's taking personal responsibility. No one's taking, that step to get out of that confusion, to bring it back to them. So where do you start, okay, in a space that you wake up 30 years later, 50 years later, 20 years later, it doesn't make the difference, but you wake up with these relationships that you may have some conflict in, or that you've been indecisive about and have doubts about, or you worry about, right? And us as mothers, if you are a mother, okay, or fathers, or, older siblings, or best friends, or caregivers, why do we worry? It's because we don't trust the process. Otherwise, you wouldn't worry. Worry is outside of a clear decision and knowing. Well, then that creates conflict. So conflict now becomes a very, very big complex word from multiple experiences that are happening majority of the time outside of your inner realm, okay? However, they cannot be there if you are not projecting them or starting them from the inside. And so I want to bring it back to you being in tune with yourself. How do you stay out of conflict? How do you break those ties? How do you narrow, okay, that broad spectrum of possibilities of being in conflict, which you probably are in many relationships, right? I don't really want to go, but I should go, but otherwise it's going to be more, it's going to be more of a headache, and then I don't know. That's already adding on to the conflict. That's not taking away from the conflict. And conflict is the result of little baby ripple effect steps that are being taken, okay, by you being out of alignment with yourself. Once you're in alignment with you, it feels good. You're clear. There is no doubt. There is no worry. You're flowing. You feel this incredible clear space of like, everything is good. Everything's going to work itself out. There's no shoulds, could, should have, or regrets, which pull at your heart or pull at your solar plexus to go redirect your energy to go create other things that just create more conflict. Well, that didn't work. Why? Because you were outside of yourself. Anything that gets created, okay, from a place of indecision, confusion, doubt, worry, fear, mistrust, and I can carry on, ... those things will and have to create conflict with who? Your inner being. So when you wake up and you go on your day-to-day scheduling or your day-to-day events or your day-to-day to-do lists or your day-to-day encounters, okay, which could be a phone call. I must fund this one. I do need to do that. And you encounter conflict. Well, it's because of a lot of different reasons. But sitting there and unpicking it, like trying to unthread it and unpick it, you can't stop that because you don't really know, okay, where it has begun. It could be a simple fact of law of attraction just bringing you more of what you've already got going on with you. And that could be a big conversation in itself. So, have you ever caught yourself when the mind is so clawed into you that thought process is just creating more and more and more conflict as you are in it? That is law of attraction, just supporting you at the speed, okay, of energy and attention that you are pouring in to what you are focused on. It's amazing how much capacity people have, okay, and the bandwidth that they have, okay, to be in conflict with themselves and others. It's actually disturbing how strong we are in the contrast and the verse of what we really want. So, how do we shift this? How do we change this? Why would you want to change this? Well, first of all, conflict can only create enough conflict to create more conflict and bring on another aspect of conflict in your life. So, Vanda, how can you even say that? Well, you don't have to be a guru and you don't have to be psychic or intuitive to know that. That's just the science of it. That's two laws, okay, with major deposits into your framework of your vibrational frequency working and doing the job. One, law of attraction, okay, and two, law of correspondence. What are you communicating? What are you corresponding from one end to the other end? Where did it begin? Who cares where it began? The more you justify this, okay, the more entangled you're going to get. Who cares? Is it worth the conflict? What are you going to get from this conflict? Will you be able to go and reap your rewards from this conflict? And just staying in it doesn't work. You have to move. You have to physically make a decision. You know what? I'm just not going to go there today. I'm going to think differently. But you have to move your body. Go for a walk. Take a deep breath in. Go take a deep salted bath. Just pay attention. See salt rebalances. There are other salts there that draw it out. Okay? Understand how you're participating. What is creating these pulls in this feeling that you are being and acting out? Where is your focus? Is it serving you? Are you on overload? Is what you're doing in conflict of where you are supposed to be being? There's so many conversations that I can have hours and hours and hours and hours with you that are filled with pulses of wisdom, okay, to support you, but without you taking personal responsibility, meaning you are going to claim this piece here and you're going to say, all right, I'm the one that's sovereign to my choices. I'm the one that chooses. If I'm indecisive, that means that I'm not in alignment. Okay, that means that I'm not connected. Okay, I am not lined up with who? My inner being. The one that knows, the one that feels good. There is no aspect of your inner being and an aspect of your higher self that is in conflict with you. None. If you're tapping in a meditation, in some breath work, in an exercise, and you're in conflict while you're doing those things that you are thinking they self-care, right? Check. Self-care. All right? You're being distorted by a thought or a feeling or an energy pool, okay, that is creating a contrast. You are the most intelligent, intuitive tool. Your emotions, your feelings are telling you. Your thoughts are just thoughts. How you think comes from your ability and capacity, okay, and bandwidth. And that's what I was saying earlier on. Isn't it amazing how us as humans have the capacity to be in fire, war, chaos, storms, doubt, depression, anxiety. I mean, masters of this co-creative space that distorts us, and we're able to even distort the rest. But no one can distort you when you're in alignment with yourself and your inner being. So even though the big conversation out there in therapies and in convos and, therapy groups and higher conscious networks, how do we get off conflict? Be in alignment with yourself. Pause. How are you feeling? Pay attention. No one's paying attention anymore. Everyone's going, talking, creating, and then all of a sudden, I don't know where to go. I don't even know what I want. You speak to the majority of people. It starts getting really interesting when you ask them, what is it that you want? I want this, and then 4 or 5 things. Actually, I don't know what I want. Now, why do you want it? Is there conflict there? Is there conflict with what you're asking for? Where is the conflict coming from? This is so valuable because there's no personal power in all these things I've discussed. How great it is when you wake up and go, I'm indecisive. Oh, fabulous. I'm indecisive. Where's the opportunity? What's the grand tip for the day? Make a decision, because it's not right or wrong, but make a decision. How do you know which one's for you? The one that feels good. The one that feels good. You might have to go through multiple decisions to get to feeling good. But if you don't make those decisions, you're going to stay on building that conflict until that conflict creates so much conflict and contrast that you get to really understand, okay, I don't really want that. I've had enough of that one. Make sense? So, to bring it home for you is to breathe in. Enjoy those moments when you catch yourself both deciding and being indecisive. Nothing more beautiful and powerful than being self-aware and clearing it up for you. Okay?
My name is Vanda.